Hello, Heatseekers. It's the Heat Sheet. Hello and welcome back to the Heat Sheet here in the aftermath of the 2025 Royal Rumble. We've got myself, Chris, Jack, we've got Lewis, and we've got Steve here, ready to break down everything that happened in the first massive event of the wrestling calendar, if you don't count World's End and all that back at the start of January. But yeah, Rumble fever well and truly gripped the wrestling world over the last wee while. And tonight we are going to use our tabloid format, as we always do, to break down the best stories, the best matches, the best gossip coming out of the show, as well as some TV picks as well. Now, lads, it's been a month or so since we last spoke. How did you guys get yourselves up for the Rumble? And in one sentence, in fact, give me 3 words to describe how you felt after the event.
I'm going to cheat and say 4. Death Rebel or shite.
It's a good one. It's one that I'd imagine a lot of people are in agreement with. What about yourself, Liz?
Swerved, underwhelmed, and surprised, if I can throw those in.
No, that's it. Those are all good words, and I think those are the ones that I've echoed quite a lot. You know, if I'm looking at the online discourse since Saturday night, a lot of people are feeling a bit disappointed, shortchanged, miffed, confused with a lot of the stuff that's going on there. But you used the word underwhelmed there, Ellis. I think I was just whelmed with it. I don't think I was overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I was just whelmed, and I don't even think that's a word. So it kind of sums up my feelings on it there. But in terms of, you know, we're going to get on to talk about what we enjoyed and what we disliked about the actual event itself. But the anticipation for the Rumble is one of the best things about being a wrestling fan. Was there anything in the build-up to this year's Rumble that you were really, really excited for that they actually did follow through on?
Not really, because we were all wanting Cena to win, weren't we?
I feel like with mine, it was like you got almost. I don't know. It was as if Triple H thought, if I don't put these couple of people in, it'll be chaos. You know what I mean? He's happy pissing off some people. He doesn't mind just as long as the story ticks on. Just like you're saying with the likes of The Rock not coming back or things like that. He knew that was a maybe. You know, but we knew that we kind of knew that Joe Hendry was going to appear. Everyone was hoping for Joe Hendry. It just takes one phone call and it gives people a good moment, you know what I mean? Like things like that, it's easy to do, simple to do, but things that were maybe a little bit more harder work or a little bit more complex, he veered away from, and like you're saying, that gave us that whelmed feeling rather than fucking overjoyed or anything. So it was a Royal Rumble. It ticked away nicely, but I've no idea where we're going with WrestleMania now, and it's even worse because I'm going. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to have Rock v Roman lined up. I thought Cena was going to be well on his way to the main event. I thought Gunther was maybe going to have a fresh challenge, and I have no idea what I'm lined up for now with Logan Paul and AJ Styles and everything. I'll shit myself a little bit that I get shortchanged, like you said.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to break everything down as we normally do when we hit the headlines on the Heat Sheet here. We're not going to be facing off against each other this time, though. We're just going to go through the event as a whole. So the front page is where we put the biggest stories of the wrestling week in, and the Rumble itself, the whole event, is the worthy story on there. But we'll come to you, Steve. What would be your sort of your main takeaway from the Rumble event, whether that's from the matches itself or any of the storylines or any of the appearances that we got?
I think just the surprise of Jay winning it, because it was so unexpected. Now, I personally, Jay winning it, right? I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I'm lukewarm on it because when it happened, especially when it came down to him and Cena as the last two, I was, I was sitting there thinking, well, any second now Cena's going to chuck him out. So when I saw that it was Cena's 2 feet that hit the floor, I was like, what? So, and I think there is a bit of double standards here. Think how many years after Royal Rumbles have we sat there disappointed that it was another predictable winner, and here it is, it's someone unexpected, someone we weren't expecting, and yet we're still moaning about it. There is some double standards going on from all of this.
That's the wrestling fan paradox. You know, you can never be happy with the things that make you happy.
Yeah, because well, let's be honest, we are an entitled bunch, and especially when it comes to WrestleMania and the anticipation of it, we'd never seem to be happy. I think how many years we've came out of Royal Rumbles thinking, oh, it was Roman who won it again, it was Brock who won it again, more main eventers who've already been pushed to the moon that don't need another big moment. Why are they not pushing the young talent? Here they are pushing somebody who for the past, I'd say, 2+ years has been on an upward trajectory, has fan support, and WWE have listened to that and thinking, yep, let's strap the rocket to him, let's send him to the moon. And yet here we are falling out and saying, no, Jay's not a main eventer. He's him versus Gunther isn't a WrestleMania worthy match. Gonna make your minds up. Like I honestly God think there's another timeline out there where Roman won it and we're all sitting moaning going, Roman versus Cody again, 3 years in a fucking row. Come on, man.
No, you're completely right. It's one of these ones, you know, I've seen the reasoning being explained as, you know, he's the biggest merch seller. He gets the biggest fan reaction every week on Raw and stuff like that. And that's you know, if that is the reason for it, then you can't really argue with it. You know, if he's you know, shifting t-shirts, if he's shifting sunglasses, he's got the catchphrase. But it's almost kind of like the anti-Daniel Bryan movement. It's like, you know, when everybody was wanting Bryan to win the Rumble and then he managed to WrestleMania and to main event in New Orleans, that was an organic thing that fans got behind and made them change on it. This one, it feels as if they've just spent, like, well, all the fans are behind Jay just now. Let's just Daniel Bryan him. And I don't think it's working. I think there needs to be more to it. As you said there, Steve, they've just had Jay against Gunther a few weeks ago on Saturday night's main event, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great. You look at the Uso v Uso match for last WrestleMania, wasn't great. Wasn't great.
The thing is, there's stuff I'm hearing said like he's got over just because of a catchphrase. It's his promos, when you actually listen to Jay in the mic, he's not a bad promo giver. He just doesn't. He's just a bit. Can't take him seriously sometimes.
There's not a lot of substance to it, is there? It's just
exactly. So it's all oos and
yeah.
You know, he just throws at him in there, and the crowd reacts to that. And he is marketable in the sense of his look. He's got a kind of unique look, that kind of the mullet and all that, and the glasses. So I get why he's shifted merch, but there is a lot of drawbacks to him, and all his great matches are with his brother, isn't it? It's all the tag team runs. You think he's yet to have a really like 5-star level singles match.
Lewis, have you seen Raw back for last night at all?
Yeah, I watched a bit of Raw.
So you'll have seen then the promo between Jay and Gunther, which kind of, you know, Gunther's expressing the same kind of opinions that me and Steve have just had there. Do you think there's enough gas in the tank for the next 3 months for Gunther to help elevate Jay to a WrestleMania main event worthy match?
It's so annoying, like how it's worked, because, like you're saying, it's almost the win was almost to sort of spite everyone that thinks they know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like us, like you said when oh shit, gone. When
Your phone went
Roman
down
said
like the Rumble result.
yeah over the top rope. When Roman and Seth went over the top rope, you're thinking, right, okay, so it's Punk and Cena final too. And me and my pals went even further than that when we were sitting watching it, like, right, okay, so who's going to eliminate who now? How are we going to get to the end? And then Punk's flung out instantly. And we're sitting there looking at each other like, fuck. And then you're rejigging it. When it's Logan and Cena and Jay, were like, as soon as Logan got put out, we were saying, oh, see, this would have made more sense if Jay went out, because then you would have had the mega heel versus Cena, because some people are going to want Jay to win, some people are going to want Cena to win. So when Cena wins here, some people are going to be pissed off, and then immediately Jay throws him out. You know, it's one of those things like it's right in front of your face of what we think is correct booking, and then they go the opposite way. But in terms of what you're saying about Raw, and if he can bring an emotional and Daniel Bryan-esque story to it, I think that they said they had it booked him as the winner from end of December or whatever. So why are they having him face Gunther and lose clean?
Yeah.
3 weeks before. So it's
that's what I don't get.
Aye, it's like leave that match for whenever. And I think that Jey Uso, fair enough, he's like we're saying, old school booking, old school wrestling. I'm talking like 80s, 90s, the biggest merch seller, the biggest draw. Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, they get the belt, they get the win. That's just how wrestling works, you know.
It's a weird one though, because like he's selling all the merch and as he's got catchphrase and everything. Is anybody going to an event to see Jey Uso though? When you've got Punk and Roman and Seth and even Kevin Owens and Sammy,
Yeah, it's
is Jey outdrawing those guys?
No, Roman. If it's the way it's going, Roman, Punk, and Seth are your draws in that. You know, I don't think. Yeah, there you go, Steve.
No, you carry on, Lewis.
I don't think that if Jay wins his first belt, you know, they're doing the underdog story of, you know, Jay's never won the belt. We're going to do a Kofi. We're going to do a Daniel Bryan sort of esque thing of trying to get the fans happy. And I almost think they've got two bigger main events than the main thing I'm thinking is they've got two bigger main events than the World Heavyweight Championship. So they want a match that, i.e. Rollins and McIntyre of last year, that they can ship onto the first match of the show and get everyone buzzing. But at the end of the show, the Royal Rumble, it's not a moniker, it's not a nickname anymore. Jey Uso's going to the main event of WrestleMania. Is he fuck? He is not going into a main event of WrestleMania. If he was going into a main event of WrestleMania and it was a credible long-term story, he should have took that belt off Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And the fact it's Gunther is almost like, shit, he's selling these so well, like everything so well. Gunther is a mega heel, but Gunther is so good on the mic and so good at taking the piss that I think he's going to undersell Jey Uso. I think he's going to like devalue him rather than bring him up to a match, because he said all he needed to say last night. You know, you bring no value to my resume, beating you, and that's all he needs to say.
And that buddies him more.
He to come out. He said last night on Raw, he was like, I wish that Punk or Rollins or Roman or Cena won, because beating them would give me, you know, a feather in my cap. Beating you offers me nothing. So I need something to gain here. So why am I wrestling you? I downright refuse, basically is what he said.
Yeah.
And I just think Jay looked like a dick.
Do you reckon, Steve, that there's a chance that Gunther drops the belt to somebody in the next couple of months, and then we get Jay against a Punk or a Rollins or even a Sammy?
No, because that makes Gunther look bad, and that'd be very unfair on him, because he's had this, you know, pretty much since he became main roster, he's had this great upward trajectory, becoming the kind of final boss sort of role, the big bad unkillable heel, all through that IC title run, and now as world champion. and that'd be very unfair to him just to put throw the cold water on that. And I also think that would disrupt too much of the card at the main event level at WrestleMania, because you throw in Punk, it leads to many loose ends with him and Seth's feud still not really settled, and with Roman as well. So you've got to think of that. But something I just want to come back on, Chris. You mentioned asked me about like the whole Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston type role. See if they wanted to go for that. Do you know who they should have gone with? Sami Zayn.
Sammy, yeah.
Because Sammy's had a bit more of an organic journey towards the top end. He's someone that we've all really for 10 years really got to know and love, and he's still yet to win the big one. And there was long-term storytelling in place for him and Gunther. Last year he conquered Gunther for the IC title. This time he's got to do it for the world title. And then you've got the whole side story with what's going on with him and Kevin Owens and Cody.
Yeah, it's the thing that I really enjoyed going into the Rumble is you had so many intertwining stories that could have played out in the Rumble. And I think last year when we spoke about the 2024 Rumble, that was one of the things that we were really annoyed at, is the fact that nothing get paid off in it, or nothing started from it, or nothing that we expected. There's so many storylines going into it that never played out in the Rumble. And I think this year they've overcorrected on that a wee bit, and they had so much opportunity to have all these offshoots go, and they caught us out with the least expected winner of the lot of them, which leaves us wondering what's going to happen with all these stories that have been brewing. And I know we're going to go into the Drew McIntyre stuff later on, but outside of Jay winning the Rumble, what was your guys' kind of your favourite bits from the men's and from the women's? Because obviously, Charlotte came back and stamped her ticket to WrestleMania by winning the women's Rumble as well.
Alexa Bliss's comeback, that was definitely a pleasing moment, and she got arguably the pop of the night. So really pleased to see her back. There was also Jordan Grace's debut as a full-time WWE talent.
I think they missed the trick. She should have been in the final four.
Aye, I know. It seems like she's going on to NXT, which is a bit of a disappointment. I guess maybe they could use some more, established main eventers on the women's side in NXT. But come on, man, we want her and Rhea. Not immediately, but let's at least tease it early on.
Yeah.
So we can already get the kind of flavour for it.
What about in the Royal Rumble there? They've went off kilter with Jay. They've gone fuck it, swerve. Why not have Jordan Grace enter, eliminate 7 people, and win? Go on to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and because Charlotte's big enough, and we've seen Charlotte a million times just spawn into championship matches, so it's nothing new if over the next 2 months she manages to wangle her way to Tiffany Stratton without a Rumble win. So those 2 matches, Charlotte versus Tiffany, that's your high flyers, that's your, you might say the prettier, more attractive match on the eye or whatever, for these casual fans. Look at these 2 athletic, good-looking blonde girls. And then you've got the powerhouses on the other side, battling to the death of, I'm better than, exactly, I'm stronger than you. We can do what the men do and more. This side's as athletic as the men. This side's as strong as the men. And that just showcases your women's division brilliantly, especially if you add Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. You get a tag team showcase with the likes of Io Sky and Roxanne Perez and Bayley and everyone, So not that I'm a booker or anything, but it seems like Triple H is trying to make 2 and 2 equal 5 sometimes, and he gives himself more work.
Yes. I think sticking with the women's Rumble, Steve, there was, compared to the men's Rumble, there was a lot of NXT entrance on there. What do you think that anybody, like the casual viewer who isn't aware of the likes of Julia or Stephanie Vicker, do you think that their appearances and performances would pique anybody's interest in those characters, those performers?
It's a hard one. It depends what that individual's like. I can imagine there've been a few people out there thinking, "Oh, Stephanie Vicker, I like the look of this girl," So someone of a certain flavour might like it. I don't think it will get a ton of new eyes on NXT, but it might win a few. I think if anybody on the NXT side it was eye catching enough, I'd go with Lash Legend. She's got that big athletic. I think she was a former WNBA star.
Aye,
So
Michael Cole said that, yeah.
Aye, so I think she already had like a big following. She's somebody that's came out of this sort of external hire thing process that WWE development do. So I think she's someone who's got the size and presence to capture a wider audience.
No, I think she's got that kind of that Jade Cargill kind of ness about her. I'm not just saying that because she's another strong-looking black female, but she's tall, she's big, she looks like she could be an absolute star. She's kind of like the female Obafemi, and again, not being racial in that regard, but she's just really an imposing figure that you look at her and you think, yep, she'll do damage both.
Yeah.
In terms of making an impact once she's got a few more reps in her. Conversely, on that, so you said there, about. I think one of the things that the women's Rumble lacked was the big pops. Obviously, we get Nikki Bella and we get Alexa Bliss, but with so many nondescript theme tunes for your NXT ones and whatnot, you weren't really getting that pop. Conversely, in the men's, I get literal goosebumps when Joe Hendry came out. I just thought it was amazing because we've been anticipating it, we've been wanting it for a while. It had all the early last year was when all this hype was kind of coming, and you're thinking, if he turns up in the Rumble, is anybody going to be in the joke? Is everybody going to be in on his presentation? And then there's 65 to 70,000 people all singing and clapping. What a moment from what a moment!
Shows you how huge he's got, and it still blows my mind. He's from Edinburgh. He's a guy I've seen live when there was only like 40 people in the crowd when he was an up and comer. So it's just mind blowing seeing somebody that you kind of saw the early days of reach these heights. I really hope we see him do something at WrestleMania. I don't yet know what it is, even if it could be something like
Cena for the TNA title.
Aye, could you imagine? I mean, that's what he's aiming for, and
that's what he wants, aye.
And I bet you Cena appreciates it. Won't happen because they've obviously got something else planned for Cena. But I think even if they could maybe do a multi-man thing, maybe a WWE versus TNA multi-man thing.
I was going to think that as well. You're probably more than likely going to see that on Stand or Deliver. More than likely you'd see that. But possibly, imagine
an IC title ladder match.
Just throw a couple of.
He could be the wild card entrant or something.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, that was probably my highlight of the night. Was seeing Joe get that reaction. My only disappointment was that we didn't get him in the ring for longer. We didn't get him facing off with Drew, but getting the rub of being eliminated by Roman.
I was so hoping Drew would be number one, and Joe would be two, because the pot would have been bigger if he came out number two, and then you'd have the face off of the two big Scotsmen. That would have been. That would have been something else. That would have been the greatest moment in Scottish wrestling history. You
mentioned the 1 and 2 spots there. We'd be amiss if we didn't mention Penta, and he was out. He was fucking out. Both his feet touched. Both his feet touched the deck. It was out. And I know he's your big guy that you need to give him props, but it was out. See if that's the Miz that happens too. The refs are like, get out.
Aye.
But yeah. But it was a weird one. It was the Iron Man of the Rumble, 42 minutes and 7 seconds, I think it was. But it didn't do anything. Like him and Ray at the start was fine. And this was my main issue with this year's Rumble was in both of them, it was a lot of get your entrance, get your shit in, go and sit in the corner for ages. And then towards the end of it, it was we'll just look at each other for the 2 minutes till the next guy comes in.
It seems like a really poorly planned Rumble, the men's one. There was a lot of guys. Like, I noticed there was times there was guys standing face to face with each other, and you can almost think in their head, "Oh shit, what's the next spot here? Are you need me to be going in the corner here, try to put each other out?" I've heard before they plan the Rumble as much as like in advance as SummerSlam because of how much is involved. It's taking months and months. It seems like they delayed it this time.
And when you think about that, though, it's like, what is the best Royal Rumble of all time? 1992, 2001, 20, 30 years ago, where the planning was that Hulk Hogan appeared at the arena, did whatever the fuck he wanted. They pulled Ultimate Warrior out of an absolute kettlehole to fucking pull him to the ring. Fucking Rick Rude's over injecting himself with whatever, and they somehow just pull these guys
all
together.
On cocaine. They've all got hangovers.
And they get one of the best matches of all time. Royal Rumble 2001 consisted of about 12 entrants coming in with tripping over trash cans and plant pots and bowling balls and all being complete fodder to Kane. Drew Carey coming in, fucking Steve Blackman getting flung out, Taz, Perry Saturn in about 5 seconds. Just then it gets to the real shit towards the end, you know what I mean? It doesn't all have to be an absolute pantomime in there. Every single thing being so particular and choreographed, the camera angles being beautiful, and they missed the one fucking camera angle that mattered when Joe Hendry spun around.
They didn't do the zoom.
They missed it. That's the one camera angle you needed. The whole thing was like, it gets far too meticulous now in Royal Rumbles, and that's why people say that Triple H can't book them, because you want a Royal Rumble to be a total clusterfuck, and when it gets to the final four, boom, there you are, shit's real. You know what I mean? That's when it really matters. And then you have a good wee back and forth, or you get a SmackDown v Raw, something like that. You know what I mean? Get the tribalness going. You've got Roman Reigns, you've got fucking Logan Paul, whoever was on SmackDown. You have those three standing there going, right, we're Friday guys. And you get Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and someone else standing there. We're Raw guys. And then two of them go out, and your final four go into the corner, and there you are. It's the psychology of it's quite simple, but it gets over complicated and overbooked, I think, nowadays.
Yep. You mentioned they're one of the best ever celebrity Royal Rumble involvements in Drew Carey when he eliminated himself. What's your guys' take on the I Show Speed appearance? Because at first I was like, fuck this guy, I don't want him. And then when I saw him get absolutely murdered, I was like, this is amazing.
The spot of the year. It's already gone, isn't it? That fucking that spear. It's one of those things it gets better every time you watch it because he fucking folds him, man. It's brilliant.
If you think about it on a deeper level, it's like that's a 20? That's a 20-year-old kid who's been a wrestling fan. Yeah, he's been a wrestling fan for, like you said, his childhood and everything, living out his dream, knowing what to do with the cameras, knowing how to conduct himself, and willingly taking a fucking spear by Braun Breaker that nearly snapped him in half. That is like the question you ask yourself or ask your pals sometimes. How much would you take to get punched in the puss by Mike Tyson? You know what I mean? And he's gone, I'll take nothing. I want to come in there and get speared by Braun Breaker and create a moment. And that's why I did it. Like you said, it was going to be a shit show. He took the spear, got flung out, and sold it really well. So you can't. Did
you see the clip of him afterwards with Logan Paul, where he's showing off his injuries?
No, what was that?
Oh, it's disgusting. So whenever Otis flung him onto the table and the table didn't break, something's caught his leg, and he shows Logan Paul in this video. There's a perfect square bit of skin that's been ripped off his leg. It looks like he's put a bit of luncheon meat on his leg. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So it must have like get caught on the edge of the table or in something, but it looks disgusting. But yeah, like that Joe Hendry, the whole Punk putting Roman and Rollins out, and then Logan tipping them out. Those would be my top kind of 3 moments, other than Jay winning. Was there anything else that kind of stood out for you guys before we move on to the next section?
I like the Nia Jax thing, the kind of old Big Show spot where he just flung like 7 or 8 of them off at once. I like how Nia did that in the women's. I think there's always a spot for that for the monster. Role within the Rumble, so I kind of like that. What else was there?
I liked when there was Braun Breaker against Roman Reigns, and they made Braun Breaker look strong by getting the spear off.
The spear.
Yeah.
I think if they're putting Roman in the chamber, I think they need to put Braun in as well, just so that the two of them can, go at each other. Because I like that 30 seconds with the two of them sold me on wanting to see that. And I'm not a big Braun Breaker fan at all, but just seeing the two of them together in that moment, I was like, yep,
it's something I hope they build that towards next year's WrestleMania, because that's a feud in the making right there. You've got the similarities, both sons are 2 of the all-time great tag team wrestlers and all that, and they're both former pro footballers as well.
I think the only other thing that I was going to bring up on it was Ludwig Kaiser being the shortest, being the fastest elimination. 100% that should have been Kofi. That should have been instead of Kofi doing the save, saving himself from elimination. That should have been it for this year, for this new version of Kofi in the New Day. Mm-hmm. Have him be quickest eliminated, even trying to be fancy with elimination, and then just getting absolutely papped out straight away. Because I think not having them involved, I think there'd been a good bit of heat that the Rumble kind of lacked. There'd been a good bit of heat if either him or Woods had been in.
Say if he went over the top rope almost instantly like Santino Marella, but managed to hold on, and he was pointing at the head going no, and then Braun Breaker just fucking douche, fucking spears him right within about 5 seconds. Yeah, they must have
something I'd like to ask. Do you think it's time that they thought about refining the Rumble, like making some kind of change to it?
Well, I mean, you look at the casino battle royals that AEW do. That's I take on it. Have them come in groups.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, do the deck thing. Like, maybe they do something where the first 20 or maybe are already in the ring, and then there's like 10 that kind of get their own entrance. Or maybe do it half and half. 15 start off, and then the other 15. These are the big boys, and then maybe say there's going to be 2 wild cards in it, something like that.
Or like a faction gets to come in the one go. Like imagine the Judgment Day all comes in 4 of them into one go.
Because
something random.
Like the biggest disappointment of all is, I mean, is the entrance teams. Definitely, they're just no good. The amount of entrances, both in the men's and women's rumbles, where the theme tunes hit, and I'm going, who the fuck's that? And there was just no buzz from the crowd. The women's match in particular, I'm thinking guys like poor Minchin, like her music hit and you could hear a pin drop. Because there's just no buzz to it. And then there's ones that baffle me, like, Chris, I remember you messaging us in the chat going, what the fuck is Nakamura's theme tune?
I
know that Japanese thing I've heard in my life.
They've done so many things with his theme tune over the years where when he's been face, it's been the full blown violins and it being sung and all that, and then when they made him heel, they've slowed it down. Just stick with it, because even like the Finn Balor's theme, it's just this generic Judgment Day.
That was
It
one
doesn't
that
even.
totally caught me out.
It's a rap thing, and like, it's like someone who, and I think when you came out, you could hear from the cold response he got. You can see these faces going, "This entrance team's doing fuck all for me."
Yeah, and even
Like,
Gunter as well. Like they've changed Gunter's.
They
I noticed that. I noticed that on Raw last night. There's somebody rapping in Gunter's theme tune now. It's like, what is going on with that?
And by comparison, AJ they switched him back to his old one, and he got a pop because of it.
Aye.
He would have got no pop if he came out to like his sort of newer.
Aye, that one he used the Clash of the Castle.
Nah, it's a massive impact, isn't it? Like your theme song. Like even when, like for example, I'll give Def Rebel one positive. You know, see when Logan Paul's theme hit with that "Ayo" at 30, you're just like, this guy's a prick. Like your face just like. You just kind of chuckle to yourself, didn't you? Like that AO hits and you're already like, here's the dickhead coming. Like you need that big pop, like that distinct thing at the start, or it doesn't have to be a theme like AO or Shoosh or whatever, but Kevin Owens.
Aye, I recognise
you know
that
Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? Like Sami Zayn, like the simple thing at the start, like it doesn't have
the
to
hook.
be.
It's the hook. It's how pop
It's
music
the hook.
works. It's the hook's what gets you in. Right, we've spent 36 minutes. So that I think that's about the same amount of time Rey Mysterio spent in the Rumble. So we've spent that amount of time on our front page, which I'm going to give the headline to as "Uso that coming." So.
How many days have you been sitting on that?
I literally wrote it down on my phone just after we started talking about it. So Uso that coming is our front page headline, which means it's now time for the back page, which is where we discuss the best in-ring action of the week. And we can only really go to one place, and that is the Jericho Cruise. No, I'm kidding on.
You see, Angel came back.
Enzo and Big Cass and on that. Ricochet wearing a wig and Harley Cameron being all sorts of awesome. Again, I need to give a bit of a shout out. Not that she's going to listen or anything, but an old training friend of mine, Amira. I don't know if you follow her on socials, but Michael Oku's missus did not get her Esther in time to join Michael on the Jericho Cruise. So she spent all day, I think it was last Wednesday, in the airport waiting on the Esther being approved. And it did not get approved until the following day, just as the boat was leaving Nassau. She was in whatever part of London it is, eating a box of KFC and feeling really sorry for herself. So, but she I don't know actually. I don't know. I've not really kept up with it, but Amira's for bigger and better things than the Jericho Cruise if she's sticking about with Oku anyway.
So getting both sides of AEW, will be all right.
Oh, 100%. But we'll move on from that to the in-ring, and as I was going to allude to there, Kevin Owens against Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship or WWE Universal Championship, whichever one it is. What a ladder match! What a ladder match it was. Steve, what was your kind of your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's best ladder match for many a year. Probably Cody seems to do ladder matches well because he did the last great ladder match, which was him and Sammy Guevara, his last match in AEW.
Michael Cole said in commentary that it was only Cody's second ever singles ladder match in his career, and I was like, no, it's not. It's like
because he did one in Ring of Honor, and he did
about 3 or 4 in AEW as well. And he's been in Money in the Banks, which they're obviously not counting.
He did all the brass ring ladder matches in AEW as well. Did about 3 in them. Well, that's not a singles one, mind you, but still.
Yeah, but even still, he's been in plenty of them, as has Kevin Owens. But yeah, sorry. Back to you, Steve. What was your kind of thoughts on on that match.
I liked how it was a slow burner. Like they gradually built up to all the big spots. That's it. That's how you're meant to do it with ladder. I also like how they just kept it to ladders. There was no additional tables brought in. There was no additional weapons brought in. It was just purely the ladders. I think a ladder match is one of those ones where, in order to be effective, we've got to take the less is more approach. It's not TLC. It's just ladders. So just keep it to the ladders. The highlight one was when Cody went through the hinge bit, as the suspension bridge bit.
Yeah.
I thought, why hasn't they thought of that one before? And I'm thinking, oh Christ, I hope it gives way, and I think it did. And it might look like a flimsy bit of metal, but I can imagine that hot like a motherfucker.
Oh aye. It was. You're right in saying, it was a slow burn, and I think the end of it, like the lead up to the finish, really played into that. It was worthy of the slow burn because it seemed to get more and more violent. At the start there was even a bit of fun with the tiny ladder when Kevin climbed it and then faked jumping off it and then just used it as a weapon. You had that levity at the start of it, and then you had the
Didn't we reference WLC?
Aye, it was like the first used when Hornswoggle had it. But the actual story that they were telling towards the end of the match, Lewis, what was your kind of takeaway on that? With Sammy coming down, seemingly to get involved, but not really get involved.
I thought about that today. I feel like I'm wise enough to figure out what's going on a lot of the time. I didn't particularly get where Sammy fit into this. I thought he looked like, I thought he looked a bit of a dick. Because I don't know where Kevin Owens really got the idea that Sammy was fully on board to help him or anything like that. He was going to help. I didn't feel like there was is he going to help? Is he not going to help? Is he going to help? Is he not going to help? I just thought that was going to happen the whole time. He was just going to leave it. He was kind of going to look there like shit. And then that was it. But yeah, I thought Cody pulled out some definite more, I wouldn't say heelish, I'd just say more violence streak about towards the end, which is a good sort of new character trait to him that we've not seen in WWE yet. He's always been he's shown a bit more Homelander about him. Like,
see, I really liked the promo with Punk last week, where Punk was like, I know what you're going through. When I held that belt for so long and I lost all my pals and it started to feel like a burden, it's like, I know exactly how you're feeling. This is what made me the way I was back in 2013. And that to me, that's been the match being struck.
Yeah.
For this Cody stuff, because somebody's called him out on it. Punk's called him out on the way he's behaving and the way he's getting on, because Punk's seen it before. Fuck, I'm going through that with a guy at work just now. I'm seeing a guy really struggle and hate work, and I know it because I've been there myself 10 years ago. I'm in the exact same position that he's in. What?
Is he me?
No, unfortunately, I don't work with you, Steve.
As well.
But it's just, I think
you don't want to work with me.
It just makes it more and more personal. I think for Cody, the fact that this seed that Punk's planted in him is something that real people go through every day. It's not a wrestling thing. No, it's that thing of success breeding loneliness and breeding contempt. And then you're fearful that when you lose the success, that you're not going to have anything to fall back on.
The Novak Djokovic thing, like, it's like, I think he said something like every day that I'm the world number one, it gets darker and lonelier. He said something like that.
No, it's true. Like, whether it's in regular work or sportsman. I mean, even look at the darts, right? I know we play darts on here quite a bit and whatnot, but you look at the Luke Humphreys. Luke Humphreys, number one in the world, former world champion, was world champion up until Chris was there. But, nobody cared because Luke Littler's there. You know, Littler's winning all these non-ranking things that have meant he's not been able to get to the number one, but he's still in the back of their mind. And the players and Humphreys probably didn't get any of the credit that he deserved. But because of that, he was getting wound up by the media about it, and he was coming across as a wee bit unlikable as well. So he said both of that. But I just think that the words that Punk gave to Cody last week really played into Cody's performance and his demeanour in that match, the way he owns.
No, we saw it with Roman, didn't we? Like during his epic title run, like he was descending more and more into madness kind of thing, and maybe that's the angle they're trying to pull with Cody, like the pressure, the constant target on your back, that whole thing that Triple H, I remember he years ago said to, I want to say, was it Chris Benoit, when after he won the title for them, he says, is the belt feeling heavier and heavier every time you pick it up? Is the paranoia kicking in more and more yet? That kind of thing.
Clearly.
Aye. Yeah, I don't think Ben was the yardstick to measure that by. Yeah. But you know, Cody was great in the match, but KO was the star of the show for me. You know, he's clearly a guy that's tuned into this character. He's tuned into what he wants to be doing, and he's willing to break himself for the cause. Like, again, I watched. I was scrolling through TikTok earlier, and there was a Lemmy clip came up. Lemmy watched the Royal Rumble.
I've seen that one as well.
And he's like, "Oh, it's a good laugh." He's like, "But that boy nearly broke his neck." I was like, "Aye, like, you know, that I think one of my biggest regrets." Oh, I was thinking about this the other day because it plays in my mind quite a lot. Is what I never got to do when I was wrestling. One of my biggest regrets was never get put through a table, never get hit with a chair, and never got to do I won one. And I never got to do like a ladder match.
Yeah.
And I think just I'd love to know, and it sounds daft. I'd love to know what that bump feels like that Owens took, where he like on the edge of the ladder in the ring. I'd love to know how bad that feels.
Right. Well, why don't we if we ever reach say fucking 500 subscribers on YouTube or whatever, we recreate that spot by sticking you through a ladder.
Aye, that's a bet. That's a safe bet. So I'll take that. But you know, it's just we know how violent Kevin Owens can be. The package pile driver getting pulled out all the time is class. But it's not just the violence that he likes to give out, it's the violence that he's willing to take in his body. And the Alabama slam through the table as well. Just such a powerful image of his body just folding.
He's the closest equivalent to Mick Foley of today, isn't he?
Yeah. I never thought that bump was going to, you know, when you're thinking a power bomb's going to look more devastating, you're thinking this is going to look more devastating. I've never seen an Alabama slam look so devastating. Or his head right in it, you know, perfectly placed. Yeah,
because even see if his head went under any of the rungs when he comes down on that, and then it falls like he's gubbed. But no, it was great. And then obviously we touched on it earlier. Sammy coming down to check on his pal, but not reacting to Cody taking the belts. And I thought the reaction to Cody lifting the belts was quite subdued.
Yeah, I think it's maybe because he took it one down at a time as well.
Yeah,
it was quite. I thought that it was quite quiet. The crowd was very, very silent when it was happening. It was like maybe they wanted to see more. Who knows?
I thought maybe they were expecting Sammy to jump in or something.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, fast forward 48 hours to Raw last night, and KO's done it again. He's come in at the end of Sammy's match with Punk and absolutely obliterated him with that package pile driver, which we're obviously getting that at Mania. We're obviously getting the two of them going.
We need a proper Steen versus Generico match. You know, we don't want Kevin Owens v Sami Zayn because that happened at WrestleMania. What was it, 36, 35 maybe? And
that was the Was that the one with the fingertip on the rope?
8 minutes. It was like 8 minutes.
Oh no, that was Jericho. That was Jericho. I'm thinking.
Jericho.
It was like an 8 minute
they
match.
Need to give us that match without honour from Ring of Honor
like
back in the day.
ladder match or something.
Aye, well, what was it? I think Owens took a 20-foot dive off that one and hit the fucking concrete.
Yeah, it was a party. I think he got to either he did it to El Generico or Sami Zayn did it to him. He did a package pile driver with the 2 ladders set up and a ladder across the middle, right in the middle of the ring. Gotta get something like wild in that match. You know, they'll want to do it. They'll be like, Triple H, please just trust us and let us do what we want for 15 to 20 minutes.
And I think that's the thing. The two of them have been the unsung heroes, I think, of Manias for the last couple of years. You know, going back to Sammy against Johnny Knoxville, Kevin Owens against Stone Cold. Then they've got their tag match where they win the tag titles off the Usos. You know, they've just been involved in so much good stuff. I mean, Gunther Sammy last year as well. And this year, I think if they can, like that, I mean, we were speaking earlier about, you know, Jay maybe not deserving to be in the main event, but the two of them, if the two of those guys are able to go at each other as we hope they can, that's a show stealer. That's a better spectacle for me than Punk v Roman v Rollins or whatever we're going to get there.
Have they announced where next year's WrestleMania is going to be yet?
I've not heard, but New Orleans I'm seeing.
New Orleans would be fitting because that was where Daniel Bryan won his. And my dream is still to see the two of them win the two big ones in the same night and do the Benoit Guerrero in the ring together at the end.
It's so hard because Owens is kind of like he's far better as a heel than a face, but he's getting into that big show territory of it's like, you know, every year he's chopping and changing, you know, and you would need to have to get that Benoit Guerrero moment. The two of them would either need to be faces or the two of them would both need to be heels, and you're not going to get that. But what we did get at the weekend was an absolutely mental ladder match, and I forgot to come up with a headline for it.
Well, I just wanted, you just know Hardcore Holly was watching it at home going, "That's my move, goddammit." do you know, I don't know if this is true or not, I don't know if you're on Dirt Sheet Rumour, right? Do you know what he originally planned on calling the Alabama Slammer?
I've heard what you're about to say. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like, I'm not even gonna butcher it wrong.
It was
I've got you, mate. I've got you.
Yes, it was apparently going to be called the Holy Coast.
Oof.
Aye, and I think it was JR that told him, no fucking way. That was Attitude Era. When you know it's inappropriate for the Attitude Era, you know you fucked up.
It's only given Vince 50 years to think that that's a bad decision.
Yeah,
you know.
Aye, that's grim. I'm still trying to think of a headline that we can go with for this back page. What we go with? I'm sick of doing the all roads lead to stuff with Cody. Yes. It's too easy. Is that a ladder in your ring or a stairway to WrestleMania? There, we'll go with that.
Yeah, you go.
We'll go with that.
I thought you were going to say, is that a ladder in your pants? Or are you just happy to see me?
Just happy to watch that match.
I wish it was a ladder. It's barely even a step.
Right. So, we've done the front page and back page. This takes us on to the gossip pages of page 3, with the most titillating gossip that's coming out of the Rumble. And I think for myself and yourselves before we came on, the whole issue with Drew and his elimination from the Rumble seems to be the biggest rumour coming out of the Rumble. So, Bliss, what are you making of Drew apparently throwing his toys out the pram because someone wanted to get their shit in during the Rumble match?
I think that Drew should have thrown his toys out the pram before the Royal Rumble even started by trying to suggest that Damian Priest is even on his level of throwing him out the ring. That was a terrible, terrible booking choice, and an even worse booking choice to follow up on it if that is going to be the WrestleMania match. I think LA Knight, there was clearly an issue with timing. I don't see it as a massive slight on LA Knight unless he wasn't, it wasn't supposed to be him in the middle of the ring doing this move. If this move was planned for him and Logan Paul to do this, then Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso and Damien Priest should have just waited 10 seconds.
Aye.
I think that's Drew McIntyre's been in the business for 15 years minimum on the big stage. Jey Uso's been on 15 years big stage. Damien Priest's been wrestling for 10 plus years. You should know that, okay, that's going awry a little bit. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. Logan Paul's maybe a little bit new. These people, this is probably a planned spot. So just kind of write it out and then go, especially if it's going to be a big story leading into WrestleMania. Because I just seen Drew go over the top rope and went, what has just happened? That was horror. That was a horror. So I don't know whether it seems as though other people have complained about LA Knight as well. Maybe it's something that you need to be in the business to realise what's the cues that he should have decided to roll out and come back in with a spot after it. Apparently, Drew was supposed to be out before Logan Paul even came in. So clearly, other things went over. It's not just the LA Knight thing. But yeah, it was just a big fuck up and miscommunication, and I don't think Drew's right to throw his toys out the pram about how the elimination went. But I think he is fine to throw his toys out the pram that he's not facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
What about yourself, Steve? Because I've seen a lot of chat about it. As Lewis was mentioning there, about I'm feeling that a match at Mania with Priest isn't where he should be on the card or who should be facing. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he should be balls deep with this feud with Punk, Roman, and Seth, because he has every right to be part of it. As they do. I can get, like you said, I've not been a big fan of LA Knight, as you know. I feel he's not that good a performer, and I think this kind of shows it. I'm not going to call him unprofessional because he was just out there doing his job, and he's got every right to try and get himself get himself over with what little he's allowed to do. But at the same time, Drew, I think, is being a professional but not handling it in the right way. I don't think going immediately back, shouting and screaming and cursing at everybody at Gorilla is the right thing to do. It's hardly going to make Triple H like you more and want to push you more out. I think he could have, maybe waited till the end of the night after the show's finished and all that, and said to Hunter, saying, look, I'm really not happy. That was a fuck up that happened out there. I'm really unhappy with him, and I want you to have a word with him because he's cost me and Damien a
good start to their feud.
A good proper build to what's meant to be one of the marquee matches at WrestleMania. I guess it's also months and months and months of frustration from Drew as well. How he's been a good sport. How he agreed to immediately drop the title to Priest when he won it at Mania. Then he put in all that work selling tickets for Clash, only to be screwed by Punk, and then again at Money in the Bank, and then he's lost the feud to Punk. On top of that, when you consider Hell in a Cell, and he's probably both going into the Rumble and coming out of it with the fuck up that's happened, thinking, when am I going to get my fucking break here? I'm sick of this shit.
At the risk of copying somebody else's homework, I was listening to the What Culture Rumble review today, and they were talking about it, and they said with reference to Drew, they were saying it's like being the star midfielder who has put in performances all season long and got your team into the Champions League, and then during the summer your team signs Messi. You know, it's that kind of thing. You know, he's put in all the graft. He's done everything he's asked.
He's Callum McGregor. It's
he would 100% hate that analogy.
That's why I'm saying it. You can get it up. He's Callum McGregor. It's like Callum McGregor's the one that's the stalwart who does all the hard work, but it's always Maida, Jota, Adam Maida that gets all the plaudits and gets all the songs sung about him by the fans.
And the thing is, he'll be the one that'll end up still there once, you know, when Punk gets injured again, or when Rollins goes away to do whatever, they'll be the one sticking about. He's kind of in that Punk position, I suppose, and that he's the dependable one. He's getting all these favours asked of him. You know, we'll owe you one, and it's that seems to be what's brewing there.
You'll make fucking 8 by now.
And the thing is with that as well, it's like, see if I was Drew McIntyre, like, I don't know how that builds a feud with Damien Priest. I would just think he's going, fuck you, you've eliminated me from the Rumble. I don't give a shit about your, like, who's eliminated me. I'm just pissed off. You know what I mean? See if that was Roman Reigns, who was the champ. And Drew's whole story has been, fuck you, because you've sided with Roman. I want Roman fucking done. If he was the champion, think about Shawn Michaels getting thrown out the Royal Rumble. He was so annoyed because he can't get to the Undertaker. If Roman was the champ and Drew wins that to go to him, getting thrown out by Damien Priest would make sense that, fuck you for doing that, you've ruined my dream.
There's been no jeopardy with it.
No jeopardy, and there's no point. Like, if you just say, just because you eliminated me from the Royal Rumble, let's have a feud at WrestleMania, then should it not be Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns? Should it not be Logan Paul versus CM Punk? Should it not be Penta versus who was it that threw him out? Somebody daft, wasn't it?
Strowman?
I can't mind who it was, but just like, you can't lead a WrestleMania feud off of you eliminating me from the Royal Rumble without more substance. I don't think.
And even still, if they were looking to play off this Drew not thinking Priest's on his level, you've got that with Gunter and Jay.
You've already got that.
That's the other. So it's all over the shop.
Do you think WWE might pull a WrestleMania audible and switch things up and say, right, well, with this stuff going on with Drew and LA Knight, let's make some money and let's change it about and book them in a feud, because I could see a lot of kind of stuff coming out from that, because Drew could maybe attack the LA Knight and say to him, it's because of pricks like you, I'm not in the spot that I should be in, because I bust my arse here for 9-10 years and get screwed over, and yet a prick like you comes out and shouts yeah in a microphone and is given all the jewels.
That's more real. That's more of a start.
Yeah.
That is more of a start. That's real beef that you can put into like a storyline of a work shoot sort of thing. You know, like not as deep as Matt
you get the Slim Jim money and all that. You could go like
just a sellout. You could be like, you're a sellout. You're a one trick pony, and like no amount of fan backing can make you a credible world champion. Unlike me, you know, just like. But Damien Priest, fuck, we've seen that.
I know it's.
We've seen Drew and Damien Priest. We've seen Gunther and Jey Uso within the last year, both of them. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, give us fresh matches.
He's alright, Damien Priest, but he's an intercontinental champion. He's not a world champion.
I think this is just indicative of you've obviously got your mid card and your top level, your main eventers, but there are some of those ones that are in between, right? So you've got your Drews, you've got your LA Knights that could be an upper mid card or those kind of things. Would it be out with the realms of possibility that they put Money in the Bank back on Mania this year, and then that appeases a lot of them guys because put the money in the bank on as the second last match before the main event. Then you've got All in Night 2, where whoever wins it can cash in, give it to Drew.
Aye.
It doesn't even have to be like a Money in the Bank. It can just be a contract. You know what I mean? Be like,
Yeah.
I know you're all clambering for that chance. All you've got is Money in the Bank and all this and that. And then Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are like, right, everyone's going crazy. You could have the likes of Jacob Fatu and fucking Braun Strowman and LA Knight and Damian Priest, all them going, just fighting every night. You know, going, I deserve this, I deserve this, I deserve this. And he just goes, fuck it. I'm hanging a contract. He just walks out in the middle of the show, sets up a ladder and puts a contract and hangs it up and goes, this is your WrestleMania match. You're in or you're out. You know what I mean? Take it or leave it, and there you go. Like, it doesn't have to be like a Money in the Bank, so to speak, because then you're twisting like there's two Money in the Banks. You know what I mean? Just a contract. Just, boom, there's your number one contender. Use it any point you want. Just stay out of my business. You know what I mean? And it's easy as that. Like, piggybacking off your idea there.
I've thought for a while they need to bring the Money in the Bank ladder match back to Mania, and it would, especially now with 2 nights, there's definitely enough space for it. And that's a great idea, Chris. Like, have it decided on the first night, and it makes the main event from night 2 even more interesting because there's now that added drama. Is the Money in the Bank one are going to come out and cash in?
Aye. Well, that's the thing. It could even be a case of as soon as they win it, they need to declare when they're cashing in. So it could be on the same night, or it could be the following night. You know, and you've got that.
With WrestleMania this year, we've not got the Money in the Bank. It's gone.
Aye,
that's what I mean.
Aye, which I never agreed with. I thought that was a botch. I mean, it was. I remember us reviewing it saying that was the whole fucking event was just flung away in less than 2 hours.
That storyline didn't need more heat. You know that Punk versus McIntyre didn't need more heat. It was almost as if they didn't have. I don't see who's beating Cody. You know, I don't see who's beating Gunther. Let's just fucking throw the Money in the Bank under the rug. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I can think of why they just went, let's throw some more fuel to the fire when the fire's already stoking like fuck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's Triple H. You know.
So was there any other gossip on the cards, or anything bigger or as big as that coming out of the Rumble, or has that pretty much been the biggest thing to get the noses twitching?
I think for the purpose of timing as well, I think that's probably the biggest story. You know.
Yeah, I think probably the Alexa Bliss stuff. You know, there was rumours circulating that she wasn't going to be the signing with WWE, and then obviously she turns up in the Rumble. Apparently, she signed there'd been a hold up over merchandise rights or something like that, but apparently the contract was signed on Saturday morning, and then they flew her out to Indianapolis the night. Interesting that she turned up in the same gear that she last appeared in as well, which is pretty cool. And one for you, Lewis. She had on her jacket. It was she had "Friends Are Forever" on the back of the jacket, but the R and the S were different colours to the rest of it. So it says "Fiend Are Forever." So it was a nice.
Hopefully we get a sort of Bray Wyatt tribute at WrestleMania as well. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. They're doing the Hall of Fame. They'll put him in. So you'd expect. Aye, he's going in allegedly
this year.
I thought it had been announced. I thought they'd said already.
The only one I know is Triple H.
Yeah.
Look, just one last thing on the Rumble. Just picking up on the kind of the Fiend stuff. Why was Karrion Kross not in the Rumble?
I know that. I was really surprised at that.
Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that missed out on it, but Kross has been quite prevalent on telly over the last wee while. You know, he's shown up in the Sami Zayn bits backstage and whatnot as well. Like, why not have him show up? You know, he'd have been better in there than
Santos, Andrade, Miz.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's doing a bit with Miz.
Dom had a pointless appearance, I felt.
Yeah,
I
Ludwig,
know.
like you didn't need that.
Mhm.
Like even I know Braun Strowman came in to put out Jacob, but like someone else could have done that. Like I would say there was at least 5 or 6 pointless spots, and I was really excited to the Royal Rumble this year because over the last 2-3 years they've announced 22, 23 people. This year they announced 14, I think. So
Mm.
I was thinking, cool, 16 big names or whatever. I'd say 12 of them were mid carders to
Just guys.
yeah, just
The
so
Miz. I
it's
mean, like
almost as
when you
if
see the Miz, you're going,
don't get our hopes up. Yeah, don't get
aye.
our hopes up by these 16 vacant spots. Just tell us there's 6 spots that we don't know and make them good. You know what I mean?
Mm. That was the other thing as well. Apparently, Alexa Bliss came in at the expense of Shotzi. So,
Shotzi been in NXT though, isn't she?
I also
aye.
heard that she was originally scheduled to be the number 30, but they gave it to Nikki
Mm.
Nikki Bella for
Because
some
of
reason, which baffled me.
Less time in the ring for Nikki, I suppose.
I
the.
suppose. But
And
then
she's been through
Alexa's
her shit
come.
recently.
Man, Alexa just had a baby for Christ's sake.
I know, and she's still in the Traitors US in the episodes that I've been watching of that as well, Nikki. So I was quite surprised to see she managed to make it out of the castle in Inverness to get there and then back in for the
Is it
next
filmed in
episode.
Inverness, the US one as well?
Aye, all of them apart from the Australian one are filmed in Inverness.
Holy
Imagine Nikki Bella getting off at fucking taking a wrong turn and being in Dingwall or something, just like
I know.
fucking
I
walking
was.
past the Ross County Stadium, like this is beautiful.
shit. Don Cowie driving by.
I
Man,
was just.
fucking Duncan Ferguson's fucking wanting a match with her.
I was thinking how awkward it would be if, like, with her and Cena being there at the same time. Like,
From what I've
I think
heard,
it's
they've
more
kind
awkward
of.
for Andrade and Charlotte.
oh, I
Aye.
so
Everyone's
it's,
having a bad fucking
Lost her
tournament.
husband but gained another WrestleMania main event.
right.
Good bid.
Right, so that was our page 3, and Drew's blew at being screwed again. We'll go for the headline for that. Now we'll wrap things up with some with the TV pages. Have you got any recommendations to watch anything across streaming platforms or whatever that's not necessarily it's wrestling related, but not necessarily wrestling?
Well, it's not out yet, but there's a big-ish movie coming out soon about the life of Mildred Burke. Mildred Burke was really regarded as the first big superstar female wrestler from about the kind of post-war era in America. The trailer came out of it, I think it was last week or a week or two.
Is this the one Tony
And
Storm's in?
yes, Tony Storm and Naomi is in it as
All right.
well.
I was going to say
Jim,
that seems like a perfect role for Tony Storm.
well, I think I heard this is what inspired it. The whole the timeless Tony Storm gimmick, because it's set in the same era as the golden age of Hollywood thing. I've just read. I'm looking at the cast. I didn't know this. Britt Baker's in it as well, apparently.
After their sterling performance in Cobra Kai.
Aye, and also Jim Cornette. He's playing Sam Mushnick in it.
Ah, cool.
The old head of the NWA. So that's going to be pretty cool. There's some fairly big actors in it. Walton Goggins is in it. Well known from things like pretty much any western that's came out in the past 10 years.
Aye, he's the guy with the face, isn't he? He's just like he's like William H. Macy. You recognise him in loads of stuff, but you couldn't pinpoint an actual thing an actual role he's played.
Yeah, and Mildred Burke herself is played by an actress called Emily Bett Rickards. Never heard of her, but she was in Arrow.
Stephen Amell would have been all over that as well. Then,
so I bet he's a producer. So it's I don't think it's going to be as big as Diane Claw, but it's just cool that again we're getting a kind of a major release of another like historic wrestler. It's released in the US in March. I don't know yet if it's getting a theatre release here, which might mean it might just would be when it gets popped straight on Netflix and Prime.
Aye.
It's something to look forward to, and I'm hoping if it does at least reasonably well, it might inspire more wrestling themed movies. I think with the launch of WWE on Netflix, wrestling's the most popular it's been in 20 plus years. So I hope we get more wrestling related movies. Fingers crossed Netflix might revisit this Hogan biopic with Chris Hemsworth.
Would give us a few more options for this segment of the show anyway.
All right. Did you see the interview with Hulk Hogan and Pat McAfee? Just off the back of that there, Steve?
I didn't even know the McAfee.
No, Hogan was in McAfee's show, and he was saying that he knew that he would get booed in Los Angeles because of his political views, and McAfee's like, and the other stuff, mate.
Yeah, aye.
He's like,
I know that Taker he did a podcast last week on, I think it was Tom Segura, and Tom Segura asked him, like, are you surprised Hogan get booed? And Taker just said not one bit.
No.
And he said he didn't feel sorry for him. And keep in mind, Undertaker's Trump daft as well. So it just shows you that, you know, he's got no sympathy for him.
It's not the Trump thing, Steve. It's the fact that
that's my point.
He's a card-carrying racist.
Arsehole. Yeah, he's a racist arsehole. He fucked over so many people, from Bret Hart to Shawn Michaels, that you can name. Let's not forget, WCW's dead largely because of him. Not just him, but he had a big part in it. So, fuck him. He's a scumbag.
And he's also the world's most highest paid porn star as well.
As well.
Anything catching your eye, Lewis? Anything that we should be looking out for?
I'd say there's a new John Cena sort of series going on called What Drives You. He's getting invited into the homes, sort of checking out the cars and the houses of different celebrities and wrestlers. So he's got one coming out with The Miz, he's got one with Logan Paul, he's got one with Jelly Roll. There's another one as well.
He's looking at the new version of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Kind of, yeah. He goes round. It's more of I'm trying to think what I could compare it to, but it's just one of those classic reality sort of daytime TV shows, like where you've got a presenter and then they go with guests and do different things. So, but it looks good. I don't know how many episodes there's going to be. There's going to be 4 or 5. And bringing it back home for the last one, if you've not seen enough of people throwing other men over the top rope, men and women over the top rope, then ICW has their annual Square Go on Sunday as well. So they've got 30 more opportunities to be pissed off with that buzzer. If you want to go. I think I'm contemplating going. There's standing tickets left as well. So
was that not where the? Where is it?
I think it's at the garage. Yeah.
That must mean it's 2 years to our first alliances. For the
at the across the road at
box. Yep.
Yeah. 2 years, man. Jeez. And we've still got 4 subscribers.
And on that note, we will end this week's episode of the Heat Sheet. So our headlines for the front page was, "Who saw that coming?" Eh? Our back page was, "Is that a stairway to heaven? Is that a ladder than your ring, or a stairway to WrestleMania?" And the page 3 was Drew's blue at getting screwed again. If you've got this far, brilliant. You're about the only one that's ever got to the end of one of our podcasts.
Yeah, alive.
But if you have enjoyed this, give us a follow on the socials. Just search at the Heat Sheet Podcast. Also the same on TikTok now. I have changed my personal account to the official Heat Sheet Podcast TikTok page. So just look that up and you'll see everything that we've done over the last week while. Clips on there and our Advent stuff. And ideally we'll be putting some more stuff up on that as well. But Lewis, Steve, thanks very much. And for all yous out there, however you enjoy your wrestling over the next wee while, I always forget this. Really need to write this down. We've been the Heat Sheet. Cheerio.
Put that cigarette out.
Hello, Heatseekers. It's the Heat Sheet.